Hello viewer and welcome back to Games with Dialogue. In between our last session and the next one to come, I decided to gather up the 200 gold to retire my character. So this episode you're going to get to see the new character I pick. That's pretty much it. The new character. If you don't want to be spoiled, then maybe don't watch this one. But otherwise, let's dive in and see what we're looking at for the future.
Finally, the other mercenaries' desire of helping each other and avenging friends was starting to make you sick. Well, that and the stink of abandoned crypts. However, that reassuring, jingling weight was worth it. Having plundered the city of everything you could, you leave Gloomhaven. This city will surely never see a mercenary so rich again. You're barely out of the gates before your mind starts racing with new schemes to make your purse even heavier. Maybe you should invest in a guild of your own. So another prosperity, and we unlock another class. Alright, let's pick a new character. I know you guys want to see... I'm assuming you guys don't want to see another starting class, that you want to see one of the unlocks. So we have two people who could be tanks. Melee damage support, but they could also tank. Melee tank support. We have Astrid, and we're probably going to have Astrid for a while, and I'm not really in the mood to play a tank. So I think I'm going to pick the Quartermaster, because we have 4 players, and regardless of what the Brute winds up picking next, I think this will be a good character to support the group. So I'm going to pick this one. And then we need a name for the Quartermaster. Yeah, I'm going to name him Strife, based on the fact that he's a tiefling type of character, and just going off of Cloud Strife, because that's the first thing that popped into my head. Let's see here. Saw or Circles? Oh, I know what Circles is. I've never played it before. What do I have to do here? Own 4 enhancements. Experience your party members become exhausted 15 times? Oh god, there's no way. I'd be playing this character longer than Astrid's going to be playing... Zeki's going to be playing Astrid. Not to mention that with 4 enhancements, I could basically just retire this character whenever I feel like it. So if I don't like him, I can get rid of him and let somebody else pick him. Yeah, we're going to do this one. Absolutely. Plus it'll unlock a new class for everybody to play with. And, yeah, I'm definitely going to do that. Yeah, I think that's the best decision. If I don't like the class, it'll be easy enough to get rid of it. If I do like the class, then I just hold off on getting a 4th enhancement for a while. And if somebody else wants to play it in the future, I can retire it and then pick a new one. Which means we have a couple of perks because we're at Gloomhaven Wealth 3. Oh no, I should be level... Let's do that first. I should be level 3. But I need to look at these cards because I've never played this character before. Restock. All allies within range 2 refresh one of their spent or consumed items. Spent or consumed items. Well, that's useful. It's a burn card, but that's still useful. I mean, if we go down to Calitite here and look at his weapon, during your melee attack, add stun to the entire attack action. He's done that several times. That has led us to victory. That's an incredibly useful ability, and being able to give him that... Let's go back to that. Being able to give him that weapon back so he can do it twice in a scenario is just fantastic. A loot 2 that's not a burn card. Love it. Refresh all of your consumed small items. Oh my god. I mean, that's great at higher levels. I think as a level 3 character, I only have access to 2. versus, you know, everybody else being able to have 3. Or if you have the Coat of Pockets, more, I suppose. It's still a great card. Heal 4, range 2, with some extra XP on it. And an aura, you and all allies within range 2 add +1 to attack. Oh, so that's like Astrid's ability on the bottom of his card, except that it's range 2 instead of range adjacent. Okay. Once during each of your attack actions, if you use an item, add +1 attack to the... Ooh. And it's an infinite, the entire scenario. So coupling this with cards that let me recover item usage. I mean, it's only a +1, but that's still pretty good. I don't think I've seen an attack yet, though. Oh, right there at the bottom of that. But that would be an attack 4 on the bottom of that card. That's not bad. That would be an attack 4 with a muddle. Ooh, shield 1 affects all... Oh, self and all adjacent allies. That's kind of like Brutus's card, right? I don't want to go digging through his hand to find that specific card, but it's similar. Oh, here we go. Attack 2, move 1, attack 2. Does that work? Hold on, I need to read. Once during each of your attack actions. Oh. So it would be attack 2, move 1, attack 3, or attack 3, move 1, attack 2. That's not bad, but... Cleaving an axe, attack 2, and you hit a group of enemies. Attack 3, in a line. It doesn't have the pierce that Brutus could get, but it's still not bad. Attack 3, range 3, always good to have some range. Attack 1, range 4, immobilize. Not bad. Good for those golems and living corpses. Is that what they're called? Living corpses? The big hitting guys. That's definitely useful. Attack 3, stun, but it's a burn. Move 2, shield 1. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. Scroll of recall. Refresh one of your small consumed items. Pull 1, range 3, target 3. Huh. That's not bad, but it would certainly be useful to position enemies for large AoEs, especially with Calatite and Astrid. And their what is it called? The let me find the card, because I forget. Like the ink bomb, the 3 targets in that cluster. He's got a group of them, and the flamethrower as well, I think. Yeah. So that's not actually a bad card for that. I mean, definitely you don't want to get closer to the enemy, but you can also use it to pull enemies into traps, which you always want to be able to do. One adjacent ally may refresh all of their spent items, and it's not a burn card. Ooh. I mean, spent items aren't as common. I think if we look at the group here, there's 1, 2. But, you know, he could get it back if he wanted to. Same with the Eagle Eye and the boots. And I think he's also got... Oh, the armor. Right. And the shield. And the boots. I don't think... Yeah. That's not bad. That's not a bad card. One thing I'm also noticing is there's a huge swing in initiative. You've got the 88, the 98, but then you've also got 17 and 19. 26 is okay. 23, 81, 73, and then a few of the ones in the middle here. Huh. Okay, alright. Yeah, that's, this character's looking pretty good. What do we got? Reforge. You or one adjacent ally may refresh one spent or consumed one-handed or two-handed item. Oh, so a weapon, basically. And it's not a burn. You or one adjacent ally may refresh one spent or consumed. So there's a couple of one-handed weapons, or there's a couple of weapons that are just terrible because they're one-time use. But if you could use this card consistently to keep getting it back, I'm thinking like the poison dagger, the wounding weapon. We'll go into the merchant and look at it, but that's not bad if you can get it consistent. Recover up to 2 of your discarded cards. Well, that's useful. Especially with a smaller hand size. That's useful. Okay. What's the other one? Bladed Boomerang. Range 3, wound. Oh, boy. It's not enhanceable, though. Do you notice that? Move 2, attack 1, move 2. That's not bad. It's got an attack on the bottom, which, you know, is very useful. Move 2, attack 1, move 2. And you can enhance the attack. Give it poison, give it wound, give it curse. Okay, alright. Choose 1 to permanent... Oh, boy. Well, how many attack cards do we have here? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I guess we can count this one as 6. That's not a lot. This would make a good middle of the road card. Recover up to 2 of your discarded cards. This one would just extend your life and make one-handed weapons or weapons with status effects on them even better. But I think I'm going to go with the attack. There's so few attack cards in his hand. And this is a range or extra movement. Yeah, I'm going to take this one. Okay, that's level 2. Let's do level 3. Continual supply. At the end of each of your turns, you may discard a card to allow an adjacent ally to refresh one of their consumed... it's not great. I mean, it happens... It's a burn card, but it stays for the entire scenario. But you have to discard a card to allow an adjacent ally to refresh one of their consumed small items. Do we have a way for them... Oh, no. We have a way for us to refresh. Yeah, refresh one of your consumed small items. Recover up to 2 of your burned cards. Okay. I mean, that's very similar to the Spellweaver, because it goes away permanently. But it would allow me to get some of the burn cards back, like this one. Proficiency. Well, that should stick around the whole scenario. So we're not looking at that one. This one though. Refresh all of your consumed small items. Or this one, restock all allies within range 2. Yeah. What's the other one? Scroll of Lightning. Attack 5, range 3. Oh, Attack 5, I mean, that's not bad. That's not bad. Move 3, push 1. Target all adjacent enemies. Oh, wow. Move 3, push 1. That's not bad. Yeah, that one's not bad either. The question is, do I want to pick up Continual Supply or Reforge? Because now I'm looking at Reforge. At the end of each of your turns, you may discard a card. Recover up to 2 burned cards. Recover up to 2 discarded cards. I don't know. I mean, recovering up to 2 of your discarded cards will keep you from needing to rest. Recovering up to 2 burned cards will keep you from exhausting. Am I gonna completely ignore Scroll of Lightning? Because that's range. And that's a move 3. Even if you ignore the push, that's a move 3. You or one adjacent ally may refresh One spent or consumed. I keep circling this one because I like it so much. I'm gonna take Reforge. I think I'm gonna take Reforge, and then next level, maybe I'll take an attack. Scroll of Lightning. Yeah, Reforge will also allow me to give Calatite or Brutus their weapon back. So I'm gonna take this. It's very good for the group we have now. Okay. So let's pick our perks. Remove 2 + 1 card, -1 cards. Remove 4. I'm going to heighten. Replace 1 0 with a +2. I mean, of course, that's great. Technique. Add 2 rolling +1 modifiers. Okay. So, assuming we get a fight where we get a +1 rolling, we could wind up with a -1. So it just cancels out. A 0, not bad. We could get a -2, so that would lessen it, making it a -1. Not great, but we could get a +1 on a 0, or we could just keep looking. 3 muddle cards, 2 pierce 3, add 1 stun, always good. 1 extra target, always useful. Add 1 0, refresh an item. I'm going to take one of these. I have 2 left. Ignore negative item effects and add 2 +1 cards. I mean, that's a no-brainer. I can wear the better armor, and I get 2 +1s? Of course. Okay, so what's left? I wouldn't mind this one. Remove a 0, add a +2. But I also... Rolling modifiers are pretty dangerous to have. Because I could pull a +1, roll into a miss. Yeah, I think maybe I stay away from the rolling modifiers until I have a better deck. I'm going to... I have 60 gold. I'm going to take another refresh item, because I like the idea of having cards that I can just... items that I can just constantly be refreshing over the course of the scenario. Okay. Okay, that's good. So, let's buy some stuff now. Let's start with armor. So I could just pick this one up. It's going to cost me 18, which is great. It's the best armor. And I can just refresh it when I get... Okay. And I ignore the -1s. Fantastic. Great. Okay. Helmet. While you are adjacent to 3, you get an advantage. During your turn, refresh one of your consumed items. That's not really that great for me. When attacked, consider any crit attack as a 0 instead. That one's just always active. I don't know. Eagle Eye Goggles are great. And they would refresh every time. I wouldn't have to worry about it. Let's do a weapon first before I decide on a helmet. We want something that could refresh, like this. During your melee attack, add Curse. This one, when damaged by an attack, gain +1 shield for the attack, and then I could just keep refreshing it over the course of the entire scenario. During your melee attack, add Wound. This is the one I'm talking about. That's great. This also refreshes. During your single target melee attack, turn it into a stab, basically. And of course, the poison one. During your melee attack, targeting a living corpse, living spirit, or living bones, add +5. That's a great weapon if you're going to go into the crypts, especially with my ability to refresh, but it's very situational. Create Earth. Ranged attack, add Immobilize. I'm going to take Jagged Sword for the wound. Just because we're fighting a lot of high shield enemies, and wound just really helps, I think. I'm going to take the Heater Shield. I'm going to equip it. This one. And then, with 24 left, I'm going to look at boots, and then weapons, and then helmets. Initiative, let me go faster. Well, that would help mitigate... I can't afford it. Winged boots would help me with my jump. I don't have a lot of good movement. But jump, I definitely don't have jump on anything. That would be helpful. Maybe I will take this one. Do I want a weapon instead or a helmet instead, or do I want jump on my boots? I think I want a helmet. I really wanted this one. I'd have to save up for that. What about weapons? Curse. Now I can't afford anything but the poison dagger. I mean, I shouldn't overlook the poison dagger. We're fighting enemies with a lot of health. Poison would help the entire team. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to take the poison dagger because it would help the entire team. Astrid's the only other person with poison on their in their deck at the moment. I picked the wrong button. Okay. There we go. Okay. So I got my perks, I got my cards. Well, actually, I don't have my hand chosen, but I do have my cards. How do I... There we go. Okay. And then I don't have money for enhancements. I don't have money for anything else. All right. I think we're ready to go then. All right. I accidentally opened this after I had hit finished recording and the guys had locked off. So let's go through this. Stepping through the arched doorway of the town records building, you see it houses a massive, yet woefully understocked library. A sinking feeling takes hold of your gut as you take in the barren shelves. You don't want the memory of your departed colleague to die with you inside one of Gloomhaven's dungeons.
With an idea brewing in your mind, you search for one of the record keepers in the library. It takes a considerable while, but eventually you happen upon a small man meticulously rearranging what few books are on the shelves. You waste no time relaying your great idea to him.
Town record, mercenary log. Scorcha, retired. Damage done. Enemies killed. Exhaustions. Healing done. And then whatever this is hidden behind this thing. Win rate, maybe? I don't know. Brutus. Healing done. Wow, only 28, huh? 91%. Calitite and Astrid. Okay.
You walk into the town records building and are immediately struck by how different it looks. It might just be the lighting, but there seem to be more books on the shelves and less of a scowl on Dominic's face. The short, bearded man approaches you. "Ah, how good of you to come," he says. "No doubt to record the further exploits of your friends. I was most assuredly derisive of your motives when you first walked in here, but I must say that the idea has grown on me a little." Dominic slaps you on the back, then wanders around behind the counter. "Whether you like it or not, you are becoming important fixtures of this community, and I'm sure that I have you to thank, at least in some small way, for the increased number of books lining the shelves." He waves his arms about, his hands barely visible beneath his robe's long sleeves. They're not good books, mind you, but they're books nonetheless. "Plus," he says with a small smile, "I've had more time to work on my own tome." Dominic opens the small collection of parchment he has been working on and passes it to you. "I'm still focused on the big picture right now, but I should have more soon. I thought you might be interested in hearing it." Though human expansion has not always been greeted with kindness and civility by other races, currently humans are more or less at peace with their neighbors. After a costly peace treaty with the Valras to the south and an understanding with the prominent Inox tribes, the only main threats are the animalistic vermlings who continue to assault human cities, sometimes for no discernible reason. Humans have mostly stayed away from Harrower territory out of fear, and the Harrowers seem to return the favor. The same goes for the Savas, who live underground, in the largely uninhabitable mountainous regions in the north. Orchids and quattrals both come from far-off continents across the sea and seem far more interested in commerce and cultural exchange than conquest. And so human society has certainly benefited culturally from its interaction with other races. Many of the most beautiful structures in human civilization would not be possible without the machinery of the quattrals, the elemental mastery of the Savas, and the architectural designs of the Valraths. The meditative orchids have even influenced a number of human religions, though the followers of the Great Oak, a stringent group who believe a giant tree housed in the center of the capital watches over and protects everyone, remain unchanged. And while the human military keeps the civilization alive, it is really the commerce with the other races that ultimately allows the civilization to flourish. It seems then, as the wilds grew tamer, that a paradigm shift away from militaristic rule and towards mercantile rule was only a matter of time. Like I said, I'm still working on the broader strokes, Dominic says, but my research has been providing some interesting information. It's all very vague at the moment, though. I need to find better sources, not just Savas howling poems. He takes back the book and frowns. Savas write the worst poetry, and it's incredibly hard to translate. So, you want to start some sort of record of all the mercenaries who've moved on from Gloomhaven? The short, bearded man asks with a scowl. Sounds a little arrogant to me, but I'm sure I've got a spare record book somewhere in the stacks.
I think this conversation was supposed to come before the one we just had.
He puts down his pen into the spine of the book he was inking.
Yeah, I think they got it reversed.
The counter at the front
actually.
Of the town records building. I'll be back in a bit. Don't steal anything. He gets in one more good scowl before turning and walking towards the back of the building, nearly tripping on his overly long robe multiple times. As he slips behind one of the many shelves of books, your attention shifts to the building itself. The town records building is a large, circular structure on the west side of the coin district. Built as a status symbol for the town of wealthy merchants, anyone who actually enters can quickly see that the massive library is woefully understocked. Some sections, such as the teachings and philosophies of the Great Oak, are reasonably full, but many others have just a handful of books occupying long, barren shelves. Perhaps this was why some of your merchant friends were so adamant about you taking a trip to the town records building in the first place. Recording your party's exploits creates more content to fill these empty halls. With this in mind, your thoughts turn to the open book directly in front of you, the one the clerk was working on. There are two texts on the counter, and it looks as if the clerk was in the process of transcribing the writing of one into the other. Looking more closely, however, you notice the titles are different. The complete book is titled The Rise of Human Civilization, while the other is titled The History of Gloomhaven by Dominic Scrim. Intrigued, you begin to read what he was writing. At some point thousands of years ago, humans stopped hiding in caves and began to form societies out in the open, erecting modest farming villages that eventually grew into the massive, sprawling cities we see today. Living out in the open was never easy, though. There were wars, both amongst themselves and with other races, such as the Valraths to the south. More troubling, however, were the constant raids from the more barbaric races of the world. Inox and Vermling tribes, who had no concept of peace and wanted only to kill and destroy. Walls were always necessary, as were the armed men who guarded those walls. For this reason, the civilization of man grew and developed under a militaristic rule. Those skilled in warfare held the highest positions in society and governed from a perspective of keeping their charges safe from outside attacks. While this regime of strength kept the human race alive and functioning, it did stagnate the growth of other cultural facets of society. What the civilization lacked in culture, though, it made up for with rapid expansion and settlements spreading out from the north to every corner of the continent. This created a strong foothold to ensure that humans would continue to prosper and never again have to go back to hiding in caves. Best to start at the beginning, eh? Dominic now stands before you with a small amount of leather-bound parchment. I found this in the back. It should do well for your purposes, but I see you've found something as well. He shifts his feet a bit and hands you the parchment. Most people see Gloomhaven as some backwoods caravan stop, he says, in an accusatory tone. A necessary evil in the middle of a deadly wilderness. But I disagree. I love Gloomhaven, and I believe its history needs to be documented. I think this town plays a far more important role in the history of this continent than anyone realizes, and I'm going to prove it. Dominic flashes a brief nervous smile, and then grabs up the 2 books on the counter. But it's not finished yet, not by a long shot. Come back later, and I might have more history to share.
That's going to wrap it up for us, and we'll see you next time.